Welcome back to the channel. Have you ever felt that no matter what you achieve, no matter how many goals you check off, you still wake up with the same hollow ache? Have you wondered if true, lasting happiness might lie beyond the pursuit of money, status, or fleeting pleasures? Today, we journey into the heart of awakening enlightenment and discover how its timeless insights can transform not only moments of joy but the very foundation of our life's happiness. In the modern world, we chase external markers of success, new titles, higher salaries, and ever greater social media following, believing they will finally fill the void inside. Yet as soon as one milestone is reached, our minds leap to the next, and the fleeting bliss evaporates like mist at sunrise. Enlightenment offers a radical alternative. Rather than seeking happiness in external conditions, we turn inward to the source of all experience itself, discovering an unshakable well of contentment that no setback can extinguish. Enlightenment is not a distant myth but a direct revelation of mind's true nature, timeless, boundless, luminous. When glimpsed in meditation or spontaneous insight, this nature reveals that the restless longing for more is born of a fundamental misperception. We mistake passing phenomena for the only reality, and ourselves as separate, needy entities. By seeing through this illusion, we dissolve the very ground of craving and aversion, awakening to a way of being where happiness arises naturally, without cause or effort. Imagine a lake at dawn, its surface perfectly still, reflecting every mountain and cloud with crystal clarity. When the winds of desire blow, ripples form, distorting the reflection and hiding the calm depths below. Enlightenment is learning to rest beneath the surface, in the depth of the lake, where even the fiercest wind cannot disturb the waters. From that place, happiness is not a prize to be won or a feeling to be chased, but your very nature, waiting patiently beyond every wave. So how do we cultivate this shift? It begins with mindfulness, the art of paying gentle, sustained attention to the present moment. As it is, each breath becomes a portal, each thought a teacher. When we watch the rise and fall of sensations without grasping or rejecting, we glimpse the ebb of suffering and the constant flow of awareness. Over time, this clear seeing reveals three liberating insights: impermanence, no self, and inherent perfection. By deeply knowing that every experience arises and passes, that no fixed tie exists behind the scenes, and that awareness itself is pure intelligence and love, we awaken to a happiness that no outer circumstance can cloud. In daily life, these insights translate into profound changes. The tension of unmet expectations dissolves, replaced by open curiosity. The pangs of self-judgment soften into self-compassion. The anxiety of outcomes gives way to playful engagement. Our relationships become more vibrant, for we no longer cling to idealized roles. Challenges transform into opportunities to practice freedom. Even the simplest moments, watching rain on a window, sharing laughter with a friend, become gateways to joy. As we continue this exploration, remember that enlightenment is not an event but an unfolding journey. Each moment of clarity, each act of kindness, each breath of acceptance brings us closer to the living happiness at the core of mind. As you deepen your practice of mindfulness, you begin to notice that the chase for happiness often keeps you trapped in a perpetual cycle of desire and disappointment. You might set out in the morning determined to seize joy, planning the perfect workout, preparing a delicious breakfast, or crafting a flawless presentation, only to find that as soon as each goal is achieved, the sense of fulfillment dissolves. This is because happiness rooted in conditions is like holding water in your hands. No matter how carefully you cup them, most inevitably slips through the gaps. Enlightenment invites us to open our hands and discover the ocean that has always been there. In one poignant story, a young artist traveled to a remote mountain hermitage seeking the legendary teacher known for his radiant calm. After months of trekking, she arrived only to find the teacher sweeping leaves from the temple courtyard. Frustrated, she demanded, "Where is your profound teaching?" The teacher looked up, smiled gently, and resumed his sweeping. Puzzled, she watched him for hours until she too picked up the broom and joined in. By the day's end, as they worked side by side, the artist saw that the simple act of sweeping had become a moving meditation, a seamless blend of attention, purpose, and kindness. In that moment, she recognized that there was no higher teaching than the present action performed with full awareness. Her heart bloomed with a silent joy that needed no pedestal. This kind of awakening transforms our relationship with every aspect of life. Mundane tasks, washing dishes, answering emails, caring for a pet become portals into the vastness of awareness. When you wash the dishes, you feel the warmth of the water, the texture of the sponge, the gentle resistance of a stubborn pan. Instead of rushing to finish, you savor the ceremony, and in that savoring you taste happiness itself. The boundary between practice and life dissolves, for every movement is both a teaching and an offering. As your capacity for presence grows, so too does your resilience. When unexpected challenges arise, an illness, a financial setback, the loss of a relationship, you are less tossed by the waves. The initial pain is still present, as it should be. For enlightenment is not the absence of difficulty but the ability to meet difficulty with an open heart. You feel the sting of loss fully, like the shock of cold water, and then you notice a calm luminescence beneath the surface. You rest there, anchored in awareness, until the storm passes and new possibilities emerge. Scientific studies in modern neuroscience echo these discoveries. Researchers using brain imaging have found that long-term meditators exhibit increased activity in areas associated with emotional regulation and compassion, while areas tied to rumination and anxiety become less reactive. This suggests that through practices leading toward enlightenment, we can rewire our brains to favor stability and kindness over reactivity. As you continue your own journey, you may find that emotional triggers, once as automatic as reflexes, begin to soften, giving you the freedom to respond with clarity rather than impulse. Yet the path of awakening is not a straight line. There are plateaus, periods when practice feels stale, and even dark nights of the soul, when the luminous depths you once glimpsed seem distant. In these times, lean into community and guidance. Share your struggles with fellow practitioners or confidants who can remind you of the ground you've covered. Revisit foundational practices. Return to the simplicity of watching your breath, to the warmth of loving kindness, wishing well-being for yourself and others. These anchors reconnect you to the source of your practice and reignite the spark of discovery. Over years of dedicated practice, subtle shifts accumulate. You find yourself smiling at strangers, not out of habit but from a spontaneous recognition of shared light. You communicate without pretense, for the layers of self-protection have loosed, and you rest more deeply in sleep, since the mind no longer races with unchecked worry. Even in the final moments of your life, the peace of enlightenment can shine through, turning death into a final act of liberation. In a world that floods us with messages promising happiness through consumption and distraction, the path of enlightenment offers a radical reorientation. It tells us that joy is not out there to be grabbed but in here to be uncovered. It shows us that beneath every thought and emotion lies an ever-present clarity, an eternal spring of contentment that does not rise and fall. By turning toward this source, moment by moment, we transform our entire experience so that life's happiness is not an elusive quarry but the very essence of our being, always available, unshakable, and profoundly free. Thank you for watching this video.